Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Meat Pack Sports Talk Show. Going to do a little one-off video for you today, a little Thursday night football preview. Got some Colts, Titans action. We're just going to talk about the game real quick, give you guys something to watch before the game. Anyone thinking about putting some bets or some money down on this game, we're just going to talk about a little stats and what we think. First thing we're going to start off with is the odds for this game. It was -1 Titans, +1 for the Colts.
Other way around.
Other way around. So -1 Colts, +1 Titans. I am not a fan of that at all. I hate when it's that close. So with just that being said, I think overall you're probably just going to end up betting on the line. But we'll come back around to that towards the end. But just to preview the game, I like the Titans going into this. But we'll talk about the Colts for a second. So the Colts, we've been talking about on the show past couple of weeks, how we feel about them and more or less how we feel about Phillip Rivers, because for one, that is an elite defense. We saw last week, them holding Lamar to some small passing yards and keeping, I think it was 7 to 10 going into the half. They did really good against
It's a one-score game at the end. Like they held the Ravens pretty well.
They did. That's an elite level defense. It really is. They're only allowing 206 passing yards per game, which puts them third. 83.6 rushing yards per game, which is also third. So, that defense is solid the whole way around. We're just noticing week in and week out what kind of Phillip Rivers we're going to get this game. So with that being said, though, the 83.6 rushing yards allowed per game, I do like that. But now we have to look at the Titans and look at that fucking monster in the backfield for Tennessee, Mr. Derrick Henry, who's averaging 105 yards per game. I think he only had 68 last week. Was kind of slowed down there a little bit by the Bears defense.
Yeah, a little offset about Derrick Henry too is they actually utilize him on the screen pass a little bit. He's only had 18 targets, but 10 receptions. But on those 10 receptions, he's had 81 yards. So, that's kind of huge for a huge back, or I said huge twice there, but a big back like that to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and still, get some yards. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more of that. And then as well, Ryan Tannehill, we kind of just been like really low on him on this show. But in all reality, he's having a 2,000-yard season already. A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, and Jonnu Smith all have 200-plus receiving yards. He's spreading the ball around, and he's had at least 150 yards passing in every game. He's having a hell of a season. And then just adding Derrick Henry into that is lethal.
Yeah, no, for real. And Derrick Henry's never been one, even in college, to be much of a receiving back.
Yeah.
Obviously, just because he's so big, you don't really need him for that. But he has improved.
That's a hot take. That's definitely a hot take, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of it.
What's a hot take?
The screen pass. Because you're right. Yeah. Derrick Henry, just give him the ball, dude. What are you throwing it for?
Yeah, no, honestly.
You got to mix it up.
You do have to mix it up. And the Titans have a really potent offense. Like you said, all those weapons you just named. Like you said, Ryan Tannehill coming in the last 8 games of the season, lighting it up, them doing what they did in the playoffs. Kind of ending the Patriots' whole dynasty, if you really think about that. Titans just kind of shut that shit down. Obviously, Mike Vrabel being a former Patriot and being a defensive-minded head coach. But yeah, Tannehill has definitely been flying under the radar the past year and a half. I don't think so, because people know it's like, hey, the beginning of this dude's career, he looked solid. And then it was more or less just, hey, he looks like a bust. And then was kind of able to go down to Tennessee. Got away from Adam Gase, I should point out.
Turns out that's a good thing for your career.
Turns out he's kind of a baller, doesn't make much mistakes. But on the other quarterback side, we got to talk about Phillip Rivers, who's just had a real up and down season. I never saw the signing with him from the Colts. I thought last year too, I think the Colts had a really solid team, and I thought this year they'd be all in, win now, to which, hey, I don't want to take away from Phillip Rivers' career at all. Anything that's happened before this year, he's a Hall of Famer, but just too inconsistent at this point. I just don't think he has it anymore. I thought Jacoby Brissett was going to take over the offense. So the only thing I'm going to say is, listen, the Titans are 27th in pass defense this year. Weaker secondary. I like some of the guys they have up front. But so my overall take from this game is going to be, if if the point total can stay under 40, I think the Colts could pull off like a 2017 looking game. I think they could win that. We obviously saw last week how they were able to hold off Baltimore's offense, but just weren't really able to take advantage with a lot of those stops the defense was making. I think that's going to be the story for the rest of the year. It has been the whole year for the Colts. Phillip Rivers being able to take advantage of the plays that his defense makes. But if he goes out there and just hands over a couple interceptions, I think the Titans crush them.
Yeah, I agree. But let me say this about Phillip Rivers, though. I'm starting to sway the other way on him. Pretty much these first 8 weeks into the season, I was like, wasn't watching him, and I'm just low on him. Like I couldn't give a fuck about Phillip Rivers. But in all reality, the team's 5-3, and that he's having a 2,000-yard season with a 67% completion rate. Like he's really not playing that bad. But for whatever reason, like dude, just stinky. Like I don't like him as a player. I'm not really going to sit down and follow him, but he's getting the job done, and it's disrespectful to say he's not, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they're losing
They're
somehow.
5-3.
That's true. That's true. I mean, for real. And the Colts, I think, are still a dark horse for the AFC. Like you said, they have a really good team. I think tonight will be a big tipping point if they can sneak one over the Titans. And like I said, yeah, maybe we are being a little too hard on Phillip Rivers, but just with the way that defense is playing, they could easily be sitting at 6-2, 7-1 right now. But yeah, obviously 5-3 is not bad. It's not like this is a sorry ass team.
Yeah,
Phillip Rivers is a sorry ass player. So yeah, definitely don't want to come across like that.
Yeah, I do see this, to your point there, I see this being kind of a low scoring game. I don't really see this being a shootout. Right now, DraftKings has the over at 48.5. I'm probably going to take the under. It's going to be close if they break it. I just see this being a pretty defense strong game. And then, like you said, with that spread being +1 on the Titans, I actually would assume the Titans would be favorited going into this game. So not really sure why they're the dogs on that. So I'm probably going to just go for the Titans, like honestly. But I'm going under. I'm not going over here.
Well, so that 48.5, if it does go over that, I think that's a Titans win all day. Like I said, if they can keep that under, if they can stay under, I'd say at max 42. If it can stay under 42 points, like I said, at most I can see the Colts, 2017, 23-17, 23-20, something along those lines.
I think you called that right on the head. I think you're right. If the Colts win, it's going to be, or I'm sorry, whatever you just said. If they win, it's going to be because it's a high scoring game. You're 100% right.
I agree. I like the over 48.5. I could definitely see taking the over for that. I just don't see the Colts winning in that scenario if that is the case. But yeah, the +1, -1, I'm not a fan of that at all.
I hate a tight spread, dude. Like I don't want to bet on that. Yeah.
So before we go, let's just say I would just take the money line. I'd honestly take the Titans here.
Titans +100 on the ML.
I like that. I'm a fan of that. The overall points 48.5. Sitting right here, I'm going to say take the under. I'd hammer the under. I don't know. It should be a fun game. A little Thursday night, a little AFC action, a little division game. If the Colts win, are they a serious contender? And then, if the Titans win, are they also legit? Mm-hmm. I think the Titans are a little legit more than the Colts. I like the roster top to bottom more than the Colts, but I can see a sneaky good game here tonight. So as far as like player yards and stuff like that, individual yards, we're not going to go too into that. Just know the odds, scrap it. The line, Titans 48.5. I'm going to take the over. What do you got on all those?
I'm taking the under, and I'm actually going to go on the money line as well. Yeah, I'm not going to bet on that spread +1 or -1, but I'm going to go Titans, dude. And I'm probably going to parlay it with some dumbass parlays, just try to hit some money. But I'm going under here. I don't think they're going to hit the over.
I don't think so either.
Every time, we kind of said this in our last video, but it seems the trend this year is like when shitty teams play together, they hit the over. And then when good teams play against each other, they hit the under. So I'm going under here.
That's true. Let's take for example, the Monday night, little Patriots Jets fucking hammered the over on that.
Smashed it.
But yeah, you're right. I like the looks of this. Should be a good night. Titans Colts fan. Hope it should be a good one for you. Hope you like what we picked. Should have more. Stay tuned tomorrow night for our live talk show. Anyways, that was a little Thursday night preview for tonight. Titans, Colts, we are the meat pack. Let's go. We out of here, son. Salami squad.